Let's go ahead and go over what we covered about bunkers and getting out of them consistently in our scoring academy. So the first thing we can talk about is the way the sand wedge or lob wedge is built. The back rounded edge is the bounce, and the more angled up, more bounce. So we always want to utilize that bounce to help the club slide through the sand. Now, if you have softer sand, the bounce is helpful. If it gets a little bit firmer, sometimes that bounce will actually hurt you. So, knowing if it's soft or firm sand kind of tells you how much to open or close your face. And all sand wedges or lob wedges have different bounces. So, if you're somebody with a low bounce, you may need to open the face more than somebody with a high bounce to kind of give you some more bounce. Because the more you open the face, the more you use the bounce. When we hit into the bunker and we talk about setup, this is baseline. So we love to hit somewhere between 2 and 4 inches behind the ball. So with that region being the middle of our stance, we want to put the ball in the front of our stance. So if I drew a line perpendicular to our target, I would like to put that front foot or front heel on that line. Now, if you find yourself hitting too far behind it, you can kind of guesswork on maybe putting it farther back in your stance. So once we get set up and we get that front heel on the ball, we can go ahead and make sure we point the front toe out. That's going to be very important to make sure that we get the handle through. Okay, if somebody has really square feet, it's going to be tougher to get the handle through, and that's what we talked about a lot in the lesson was making sure that we get the handle through the shot into the left side of our body. So when I set up with the front foot on the ball, toe pointed out 45 degrees, I then want to generate a really wide stance so I can drop the hands. That's going to help me as I open the face to have it more looking at the target. And I'm going to drop those hands. I'm going to have to get farther away from the golf ball. So we go ahead and we have our good setup here. And then we can start to work on just getting it out of the sand and checking our low point, making sure that low point's 2 to 4 inches behind the ball and going from there. And, I always tell people don't try to lift the ball. Sand is not as abrasive as you think. It's actually less abrasive. In my opinion, as soon as the club hits the sand, it's probably going to pop right out. So don't be scared to get down deeper into the shot to make sure we never make the club actually make contact with the ball. We want to get so much sand so deep that the sand pulls the ball out with the shot. So digging your feet in not only is going to help with stability in our swing, but it's going to help us to get down lower under that ball and throw it out of there. So as I set up, I'll have to kind of look at that club face as it's with the rest of my back thigh to have it open. And then I'll move the shaft just to the line and not past it. Now it's important that we grip the club after it's already open, not before, so we can consistently keep that same loft through the shot. And I'll go ahead and hit one here, and you can kind of see. And you notice as I finished all the way through and hands around me on the side. And I hit right there with that 2 inches behind. Now, a great practice drill that we would like to do is we can go ahead and just throw us two lines here, one line and maybe a 4 inch line behind it or 6 inches. And we go up on that first line and we act like it's the ball and we go and just see if we make that thumping sound. See where that sand's going and see if you're hitting in front of this back line, but not on the front line. So you can see as I hit right there, and I'm starting to learn that how the club reacts. And this sand's a little bit wet. It's early in the morning, so I can go ahead and get down deep in that sand because it's bouncing it right out because it's nice and firm. Good. All right. Now let's talk about some other stuff we talked about. If the ball is buried, we put it deeper down in there. Now we want to go ahead and take away all the bounce. So we're going to take this club face and I'm actually going to close it about 30 degrees, then grip it. And I'm going to put it more towards the back of my stance because I'm going to dig down and I'm going to hit down. And what's going to happen is that toe is going to hit the sand and actually open right up for me. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of keep a loose grip so I can hit really deep down in there and almost try to keep it in the sand and let it pop out on its own. It's never going to have any backspin, but that's how we're going to get this ball out. So we kind of close that face down more than you can imagine, and kind of in the back stance, we're going to just pop it down with that soft grip. And you see it just pop on out there, roll out with some topspin. Now, if I'm hitting in the uphill lie, nothing really changes here other than whatever degree the slope is. We'll call this 5, 6 degrees. It's going to add that to my club, so the ball's not going to carry as far. It's going to go much higher. So as I hit this shot, I'm just going to kind of try to land it almost in the hole instead of have my, spot being 2 feet on the green and then to roll out. So when you hit this from the front of the stance, the same concepts apply on the uphill, and just kind of feel like you got to carry it all the way to the hole. Much bigger swing, didn't go as far. Now, when we get going down here on the downhill lie, we get a lot of these on islands. We get these downhill lies to an elevated green. It's a very, very difficult shot. What I would say is, as we set up for this shot, this kind of knee is now up in our way a little bit. So you might want to pull this leg back, give you some room. And then as I draw a circle right here, normally we do like to come from the inside on all these bunker shots. We don't want to get super steep. You can take it back only with the arms is good. And then we kind of always want to make sure that, our shoulders are pointed at the target so we stay inside the ball so it slides better instead of getting too steep. But in this certain situation, we're going to, this circle's in our way. It's a lot higher than the golf ball. So now I'm going to have to come a little bit more out to in and hold it open a little bit. And just know that it's only going to come out 3 or 4 feet high no matter what. If I hit down the slope, if I try to help it up at all, I'm going to get ball and then I'm going to blade it out of here. So on the downhill, we want to take our spine and match it up perpendicular to the hill. So we're going to be really swinging down the slope. And we're going to try to kind of land on the back of this bunker. And I'm going to come a little more out to in, something like that. Do one more, get a little bigger swing on it. Good. That's about it in the bunkers. Again, just kind of do your thing, get in here and work on it. Pace, wide stance, hands low, and then arms, pretty much a big arm swing. You definitely get the arms to the left side of your body on the finish, and we'll be in business. Thank you for watching.